This big pot here with an attempt at a Western red cedar bonsai. Now, I'm not a bonsai expert, but I've done a little bit of research and I was fiddling around with some bonsai last year. It's a little tough because of the watering. You got to kind of water them all summer long here. It doesn't rain through the summer. Rains a lot in the winter. But, you know, if I just keep it small, maybe one or two bonsai, maybe I can keep up with that. And Western red cedar. So that is this local tree. There's some, it's native tree. It's not a very common one for, this is it right here. This is the one. It's not a very common one for bonsai, but, you know, it's beautiful, and I know it grows like a weed here, basically. And so I'm actually going to take this one out of nature and put it in a pot and see what I can do. I'm not too worried about losing this tree. Even if it died, it would be a little sad, but you know, there's so many others. There's 3 others growing here. There's a giant one there. There's giant ones up here. And then really what I want to grow here is this fir. This is a grand fir. We don't have a whole lot of those on the property, and that's the pretty branches. So there's this nice spot in the sun. I think a fir is going to look really pretty here next to these maple and that cedar over there. So this guy's got to come out. I mean, I would probably take it out anyways. It's not really doing anything here. But this is what I've learned from bonsai, is the number one things to look for when you're picking your bonsai. I mean, I'm not an expert in any way, but this is what I've heard, is the roots and the trunk, because that's something you can't really train into the tree. You can train the branches a little bit more. You can do a little training on the roots, but that root and trunk system, if you get that as a foundation, you can make the tree look amazing. So that was the idea I went with. And let's take a look at the roots and the trunk of this thing right here, because this is phenomenal. Look at all, I've already been digging it out, as you can see. This was all covered with dirt up to maybe about here. So I could see there was some really interesting roots there, but I've been digging it up. So I'm taking out basically bare root to put it into another pot. It's going to need a lot of water right away. And then it's got this nice solid trunk. So I think someday it's going to kind of look like a tree, like a nice thick single stemmed tree, maybe up to about there, maybe about 2 feet tall. We'll see. Maybe it'll go these branches. Maybe those will be useful. But I was anticipating this. And so last year, I guess in the spring or summer or something, I came out and I actually topped the tree up there. I took the top off and then I trimmed back a bunch of these branches. And what I was hoping to do is create this kind of inner growth here, which was quite successful. So all of these little guys weren't here a year ago. And it's coming all down the trunk now. And so those can all be little bonsai branches later on. And they're perfectly sized. They're super cute. Some of them might need to be grown out for a couple years to get them like thicker to sort of match the trunk size, so it looks proportional to being a real tree. We'll see how that works. You know, I'm not sure. That's assuming I can even keep this thing alive. Now, I thought with this cool of a root system here, really interesting roots, I thought it'd be really cool if it was sort of propped up on a rock. And I actually found this rock underneath where it was growing. And so I thought that would be even cooler if it was like an actual rock from where I found the tree. So something kind of like that, sort of hugging a rock in there. I'm not sure if that one's going to be big enough. I might want a bigger rock to make it even more striking in appearance. And so what I've been doing is using a little bit of shovel, but the dirt is really moist here. So I've just been going to each of these roots, right, and pulling them out. This one actually has been cut. I mean, I just snapped it with my hands, but that's as far as that one's going to go. Part of the bonsai is the root pruning process anyways. So digging down here. And then what I'm planning to do is, since I'm cutting some roots today, and then I think I'll also cut back a lot of this upper portion today and shape it a little bit. And then I think I'll just let it sit for basically the rest of the year, a whole year, just to regrow, to kind of settle into its new home. And then next year, this is my long-term plan, might do a little bit more shaping of the branches, see what happens, see if these things kind of grow out more. And then maybe in a couple years, pull this whole root ball up again and maybe prune the roots back some more. So that is actually a pretty big pot for an actual bonsai. That's not a bonsai pot. So I thought I'd give it maybe 2 years in that big thing to kind of just grow for a little bit longer. And then we'll do a more severe root pruning and get into a real bonsai pot. That's basically my plan. You could watch me pull up some roots a little bit more, but I think I need both my hands, and I'm holding the camera right now. As you can see, it's almost ready to come out as it is. So just get in there a little bit deeper, and then catch me for part 2, where we take a look at some of these branches and what we might want to take off. The whole thing, if I back up, is what I'd say that's about 6 or 7 feet tall right now. So that's obviously not bonsai size. We will be doing quite a lot of work to this tree. And I hope it works out, because I think that'll be really cool to see this progression. This is the beginning, but someday this will be like a look back in time. All right, thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you with the next bonsai edition.